herself into his warm, welcoming embrace. She was supposed to be free of work for at least 3 days, but she knew better than to count on that when she was holding an important position. Sure enough, her work phone's ringing soon interrupted her quiet taxi ride.
Yes, Mrs. Caldwaller. I will be in the office tomorrow. I will prepare all the reports for our new CEO. Yes, I will print them out.
She remained professional throughout the call, but couldn't help but roll her eyes over and over. This new CEO sounded so spoiled, but that was expected, given that he was sent by the parent company. He must be one of those rich brats trying to prove his worth after begging Daddy for a job.
How pointless.
She sneered at her heart.
Yes, everything is under control. Yes, I'll make it easy for the new CEO to evaluate the company. Good night to you too, Mrs. Caldwaller.
Kate sighed before tossing her phone into her bag. She closed her laptop and leaned against the seat. Downtown Los Angeles at night was a beautiful, exciting place, but Kate could only look tiredly out the window, registering nothing. She'd lived in this bustling city for the past 5 years, and it was a far cry from the... Kate didn't like the rush and clamor of the big city, but she stayed because Matt, her husband, had said he wanted to chase his dream here. That dream never took off. Now, she was the sole breadwinner of their small family, and had been for much of the past 5 years. The taxi driver checked on her through the rearview mirror before asking,
"What do you do for a living, miss? It's almost midnight and your boss is still calling you."
Kate took a while to reply as the brightly lit street turned into a gradual blur of light and color. She wasn't the type of person that spoke often about her private life, but maybe the weight on her shoulders was pressing her down more today.
Editor, I work in a publishing firm. I'm the chief editor.
Sounds like a fancy job. Must be paying you a lot.
The taxi driver commented.
But I must say, you look so tired. Is this job always like this?
Kate sighed.
I can't. I need to support my husband's dream.
Your husband's not working?
You can say that. He's barely earning anything right now, so I need this job. LA is not cheap.
That's true. Everything's so expensive these days.
The taxi driver agreed. There was another round of silence before the taxi driver could no longer contain his curiosity.
I didn't know she was a student.
Actor. He's been trying for 5 years.
Kate frowned as she thought about how many years had gone by with nothing to show for it.
That's a tough one.
The taxi driver made a sympathetic sound. Everyone knew how hard it was to get into showbiz.
Has he been cast in any movie yet?
A few times, but only as minor characters. Sometimes he can only be an extra on set.
Kate's frown grew deeper, and she scowled.
Sounds like a difficult job to do with low payment. Is it worth it?
The taxi driver finally asked, making Kate frown even more as she looked away, avoiding the man's scrutinous gaze.
It's not, but he's too focused on it to get another job.
Kate said.
So he's basically unemployed?
There was a slight pause from Kate, and then she sighed.
He's just chasing clouds at this point.
So, if his acting career is not taking off, and he refuses to find another job, why do you want to stay with him? He sounds like a burden.
The taxi driver commented, waiting for the lady to reply. But there was only silence, and the taxi driver sensed his passenger's dwindling mood and cursed his big mouth. He made his passenger unhappy with his questions. Ashamed, he kept quiet and focused on driving through the city to the lady's apartment. Unbeknownst to the taxi driver, Kate's mood did go down after talking with him, because the more she talked to him, the more she was reminded of how much a deadweight her husband was. God knows how much time she wasted trying to persuade, prompting, and even pleading him to get a job while he was auditioning for many roles in the meantime. But the answer she got was always the same.
Well, I'm sorry if the industry is so cutthroat. It's not my fault I'm not successful. I have everything. I have the looks, talent, and discipline. The only thing I lack is the connections. If you're my wife, you should be supporting me during this tough time. I'm not even asking you to help get connections for me. Just your financial support. Do you think I don't want to give you a good life as well? Just believe in me, and I will make everything worth it in the end.
Well, so far all I got is a deadbeat husband who's been refusing to find a real job for the past 5 years.
She bitterly thought to herself, scoffing.
At least he doesn't cheat, if you can call that a positive quality.
She knew that a successful woman like her should never have let herself remain married to a deadbeat husband like Matt. She should have just divorced that useless stump so she can enjoy all the fruits of her labor. But there was a reason for everything, and the reason for her to stay was her uterus. She was barren, infertile, or in the cutting words of Matt's mother, not a complete woman. 5 years into their marriage, and she still couldn't bear a child, despite having unprotected sex with Matt religiously. She desperately wanted a child, but she had started to lose hope, and the pressure from Matt's family wasn't helping either. It made her feel inferior and useless, so everything she did to support him right now was an effort to compensate for her inability to conceive. That and...
I guess I'm just afraid to be lonely.
Kate thought sadly to herself.
I don't know if I'll find a good man once they know I can't give them a baby.
Kate tipped the taxi driver extra for listening to her story and eagerly made her way back to the apartment, wanting to get some rest and to surprise her husband at the same time. Kate hadn't told Matt that she returned home a day early from the London business trip. Not that that mattered anyway, since Matt would still be lying on the couch, playing a phone game or just scrolling through TikTok. She unlocked the door without any expectation. But the moment the door swung open, Kate's eyes widened as she dropped her bag in shock. Her husband was on the couch, but he wasn't alone. Matt was sitting on the couch with only his briefs. A woman straddled him, grinding herself against him with her bra thrown away in the heat of the moment. The woman was moaning in pleasure as she pressed her breast inside Matt's mouth. They were both in such bliss that they didn't even realize Kate had already walked in and witnessed everything. The woman finally looked up after sensing that they were no longer alone. She stared at Kate and grinned at her big sister.
Hi, sis. I didn't know that you'd be home already.
Episode 2. Kate staggered, almost fainting from shock. She quickly leaned on the nearest drawer to support herself. She refused to faint in front of these two cheating bastards. Matt finally stopped sucking on Kate's sister's breasts, and looked over his shoulder.
Ah, fuck.
He cursed lowly. He had tried to push Erin from his lap, but Erin put all her weight on him and buried his face back between her breasts. She maintained this position while staring at her older sister, who was about to faint.
You look so pale, sis. Are you okay?
Kate didn't answer her question, which encouraged Erin to further torment her sister.
Don't look so tense. Matt told me that the two of you are fine with this, so I'm doing you a favor while you're working your ass off.
Kate finally snapped. She clenched the house key in her hand and flung it toward Erin and hit her forehead.
Ouch!
Get off of him, you bitch!
Kate rushed towards them. She grabbed Erin by her hair and yanked her away from him. Erin fell backward and hit her head first. She cried out in pain, but Kate couldn't care less for her sister. She raised her hand as she wanted to slap her bastard husband for cheating on her, but Matt caught her wrist and pushed her away.
Calm down. I can explain this.
Explain what? You're cheating on me, with my sister, too!
Kate yelled, her chest heaving with exertion. She was trying so hard not to claw the skin off Matt's face.
Jeez, why are you overreacting, sis?
Erin said after she recovered. She was still rubbing the back of her head.
Yeah, you're overreacting.
Matt said calmly, as if this was just something casual happening on a Friday night.
I'm just replacing you with your sister.
Yeah, I'm doing you a favor, sis.
What in the...
Kate felt sick. Were they trying to gaslight her? How could these two act so casually after they got caught cheating?
Oh yeah? I'm overreacting? Then tell me what you two did just now. Speak!
Matt scoffed.
I'm fucking your sister, is that not clear enough? But I'm not cheating. I'm just asking for a favor since you are...
Baron.
Erin completed the sentence. She stood up and returned to her previous position on Matt's lap. She did it in front of Kate and acted so casually, as if this was normal, as if Kate was the crazy one here.
Matt told me that he wants a baby, but you can't give him any because you're Baron. So I thought maybe I could help him.
Erin grinned towards her sister.
I don't mind being a young mother. After all, you'll take care of me and the baby, right, sis?
Kate froze, still trying to process what was happening right now. She could not comprehend how her husband would cheat on her little sister whom she doted on.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Matt added.
Kate recently got a raise, so she's earning a lot more. She'll be able to support both of us and our baby, just like what she always does. She works for us.
He said to Erin. That was sadly true. Kate was the breadwinner of this family. She was the one who worked nonstop to give a comfortable life for her deadbeat husband, who played games all day, and her little sister, who had just recently graduated and couldn't find a job. She was the one who worked thanklessly for both of them, and they cheated on her so casually as a return? Oh, hell no. Kate darted her eyes toward Matt and yelled again.
I did everything for you and your dream. I became the sole breadwinner for this family so you can chase your useless dream, and this is how you repay me?
Yeah, you owe me this much.
Matt replied condescendingly.
You can't give me a child, and I've waited 5 years for it. You failed as a wife and as a woman. Let's just have an open marriage from now on. I will fuck your sister, or whoever I want, and you can do the same. Easy, right?
Yep, it's an open relationship, sis.
Erin added.
You can just work hard outside while I help your husband achieve his dream of being a dad. Sounds fair, right?
Open relationship?
Kate was so speechless that she didn't know what to say or do. She wanted to yell and beat them for cheating. They needed to be at least ashamed of what they did. But Matt and Erin didn't seem to be bothered after getting caught. Matt even boldly claimed they were in an open relationship without consulting her. No, he shouldn't even think of it as a possibility.
No, you have no right to do this open relationship bullshit. You literally have no money. You can't even afford necessities without my money.
What? Just because you have money, now you can control my life?
Matt scoffed.
Come on. You're just doing your job to compensate for your inability to get pregnant. It's a bare minimum for you.
And what about you, you scum? What's the bare minimum I can get from you except having a deadweight as a husband?
Simple, you get to have me.
Matt claimed confidently.
I am a healthy, handsome man with a good body and big dick. I'm an actor who will be famous in the future. Besides, I've never hit you before, so I'm the total package.
He's right, sis.
Erin said as she leaned her head on his chest.
Matt is handsome. He's always been handsome. And I've got a huge crush on him since I was young. Meanwhile, you should look at yourself. You look like an average working lady.
Because I am a working lady, unlike you two useless fucks.
Kate cursed them at the same time. She wanted to drench them in gasoline and burn them both so she could have a good night's sleep, and acted like she never had a husband or a sister. But she still had some rationality left in her, so she stepped back and clenched her fists to calm down.
I don't want this open relationship bullshit, and I certainly don't care if my deadbeat husband cheats with my equally deadbeat sister. You two can fuck each other on the street. Leave now! Get the hell out of my house!
Your house? This is our house. We're married, remember?
Matt mentioned, thinking that Kate got brain damage because she couldn't accept that he wanted something more than just a walking ATM machine.
Married? After all of this? Ha!
Kate snorted.
I'll serve you a divorce paper tomorrow. You two will know how worthless you are to me.
Divorce?
Matt's eyes widened.
You want to divorce me?
Do you really think I'll keep a useless, cheating scumbag like you around? You have no worth in my eyes.
Oh, that's no good, sis.
Erin pouted. She trailed her finger around Matt's abs and muttered,
You shouldn't divorce him. Don't you remember your promise to our dying mummy?
That...
Kate was reminded of the promise she'd made.
Mm-hmm. You told our mom that you're going to be a good wife for Matt. She's also expecting you to have a baby soon because she wants a grandchild.
Erin said.
Don't you remember that she has a heart problem? What would happen if she knows you're divorcing Matt because he's cheating with me? Yep, she'll be dead.
Erin sighed.
That's why I'm only sleeping with Matt. You need a baby to keep your promise. Besides, it's an open relationship, right?
Kate felt the blood drain from her face as she turned pale. She got so worked up that she forgot about her mother and...
Also, you need to remember that our parents have been best friends since we were babies.
Matt reminded us.
Will you ruin the relationship between our families over a petty thing like this?
Don't be so childish, sis.
Erin continued lecturing.
I'm not trying to marry Matt. I'm just having sex with him and giving him a baby. It's like surrogacy. You can pay me like $1 million if you want to claim the baby as yours, and I'll be happy to give it to you.
Oh, and don't forget about our prenup. Don't you remember that we split everything in half even if only one of us is working?
Matt smirked.
Well, guess this apartment is still mine in the end.
Kate could debate no more. It was 2 versus 1, and they kept bombing her with statements that only hurt her heart and confused her mind. She was still trying to process everything happening in front of her, and now these two had tried to gaslight her, acting as if what they were doing was something trendy, something that had been done by many people. And Kate was the crazy one for not accepting this new concept.
So, still want to divorce me?
Matt asked with a malicious grin on his face.
Think again, Kate.
Episode 3.
Kate gritted her teeth in silence. She couldn't wait to tear these two fuckers apart for cheating on her, but simultaneously, she realized she was being gaslit here. They acted as if this whole open relationship thing was very common, and Kate was the crazy one for not accepting it. Unluckily for them, Kate wasn't fooled. Kate glared at Matt and pointed her finger at him.
This is not over yet, you useless bastard. I will divorce you. Just wait till I serve you the paper.
Then, Kate darted her eyes at her little sister. She felt terrible heartache as she was faced with her half-naked sister. She truly cared for Erin. She knew that Erin was the one who suffered the most when their family hit rock bottom. Erin was only 8 years old, while Kate was already 18. Erin cried every day and night when she realized that her family was ruined after their father cheated on their mother and they got divorced soon after. Kate was left feeling helpless and tremendously guilty that she couldn't do more for her young sister. Though Kate was already a young adult, she was still too young to know how to coax a child going through such a difficult phase. Hence, when she began to earn money, she was determined to give Erin a good life so she wouldn't cry again. She told Erin to follow her to Los Angeles and find any university she liked. Kate paid Erin's tuition up front, so she was free from the unforgiving student loan debt after she graduated. Kate also gave her a monthly allowance to give her a comfortable life in Los Angeles. Even after she graduated, Kate allowed Erin to live in the apartment room next to Kate and Matt's, so Erin could visit Kate's apartment to help with the laundry and cooking while Kate was away to work, which turned out to be a big mistake.
Maybe I spoiled her too much.
Kate thought.
Maybe everything I did to make her happy only ended up ruining her life.
There was a moment of doubt in Kate's heart. She stared wordlessly at Erin, and Erin simply scoffed in response.
What? You're gonna scold me now? Geez, sis, don't act like a crazy bitch, will you? This is no biggie.
Kate choked up her own tears when she heard that. She steeled her heart and yelled at Erin.
You're going to regret this, you ungrateful bitch!
Kate turned around and strutted confidently to the front door. She could feel the eyes of those fuckers staring back, probably waiting for her to fall and break down in tears. But Kate pulled all her courage and kept on walking. She grabbed her bag on the floor and opened the door. Matt was silent until he saw her leaving.
Where are you going?
Kate did not bother stopping to reply.
Anywhere but here. I feel sick looking at you two.
Kate walked out, slamming the door behind her. She continued strutting through the corridor with confidence. But once she was about to reach the elevator at the end of the corridor, her legs suddenly gave up, and she accidentally tripped on herself. Ah! Kate fell to the cold floor face first. She grimaced in pain and tried to get up quickly before anyone saw her embarrassing state. As she tried to use her hand to prop herself up, she realized there was a drop of tears wetting her floor.
Why did I cry?
Kate asked herself.
Why do I have to shed tears for a useless bastard and my equally useless sister? They're not even worth it.
She tried to wipe her tears repeatedly, but they kept falling, so she decided to ignore it, gather her strength, and get up. She couldn't maintain her fearless, confident demeanor anymore. Her heart was too wounded to keep that persona. She lumbered toward the elevator and leaned on the wall several times as she walked to avoid falling again. She threw her heels away to make it easier for her to walk until she finally reached the elevator. Kate entered the elevator that descended to the lobby. She didn't know where to go, but she wanted to get as far as possible from Matt and Aaron. Just imagining herself living with those two useless fuckers made her stomach turn. Thankfully, the lobby was empty when she passed. Maybe because it was a Friday night and everyone had already gone somewhere for the night, to parties or their own engagements to have fun. It was only her who never had any fun. Not before she married Matt, and even more so after she married him. She left the apartment and walked aimlessly through the streets of LA. She saw her reflection on a store's glass pane and almost laughed at herself. Her eyes were red and puffy from crying nonstop, and her eye bags were darker than ever before from all the late nights at work. Her hair was unkempt, her blazer had seen better days, and her shoes were nowhere near her feet. She was a miserable sight. She scoffed.
I guess their gaslighting worked on me. Look at me now. I look like a crazy bitch.
As Kate kept on walking, she saw a taxi approaching her. She squinted her eyes and noticed the familiar plate. As the taxi drew near, she realized that it was the same taxi that had driven her back to her apartment before. The taxi stopped in front of Kate, and the driver stuck his head out.
Miss, are you okay?
He asked concernedly.
I saw you walking alone. This place is not safe at night.
Kate blinked a few times as she processed what the concerned taxi driver had said before opening the back door and getting in. She sat in the back seat and stayed silent for a while. The taxi driver got nervous, but he didn't say a word. He just let her sit there for a bit. He was afraid he might be carrying a crazy lady who had a manic episode at night. After all, this lady looked so professional and well-maintained half an hour ago, and—
Miss, where should I take you?
Just drive. Take me as far from here as possible.
Kate said coldly.
This place reeks of filth.
Episode 4. The taxi driver sensed the pain in her voice. She tried to sound cold, but her voice shook, proving that she was trying to mask her despair. The taxi driver was naturally able to draw a few assumptions in his head, but the highest probability was heartbreak.
Something must have happened when she returned to her apartment.
He thought, but he dared not ask, because when he glanced at her from his rearview mirror, he saw that the lady was staring straight, with an empty expression on her face, and her tears did not stop falling. He drove the car in silence around downtown LA. He didn't dare to speak to ask her questions, nor stop anywhere. He just drove aimlessly, avoiding the area they'd come from. The lady suddenly opened her mouth as they passed a liquor store.
Go back to that store. I want to buy a few things first.
Yes, miss.
The driver parked the car and watched the lady enter the liquor store. She was in and out quickly. It didn't take her long to return with a bag full of alcohol, probably 4 or 5 bottles of booze. She returned to the taxi and said,
Drive. I'll tell you where to go.
The taxi driver drove through downtown LA till they stopped in front of an office building. The building looked dark except for the lobby. The driver frowned.
Are you sure you're going to stay here for the night, miss?
Yeah.
Kate said. With work being most of her life, she had nowhere to go but her office. She opened the taxi door, bringing with her the bag of booze as she got out. She gave the taxi driver 2 100 bills. She noticed the taxi driver's hesitant expression.
What's wrong with me staying here?
I'm just afraid that you will...
The taxi driver stopped before he could say something horrible.
Kill myself?
Kate completed his sentence, and the driver nodded reluctantly. He thought it was offensive to assume that the lady looked like someone who would kill herself after heartbreak. Kate scoffed.
Don't worry, I'm not an idiot who'd kill myself over a useless bastard like him.
She turned around and stared at the office building.
My office is on the 15th floor. I'll stay there for the night.
Kate turned back, looked at the driver, and gave him a thin smile.
Thank you for me.
The driver watched the lady walk into the lobby. He sighed.
What a pitiful woman. I can see that she is in a lot of pain.
Kate used her card to enter the elevator and pressed the button to the 15th floor. The whole floor was dark. It was late at night, and no one would be working at this time. Kate used her employee card to unlock the door and enter her office. She turned on a few of the lights to guide her way. Of course, Kate knew she could just stay in a hotel or one of her other apartments if she wanted to calm herself down. But this office, Emperor Book Publishing Company, was the place she felt truly at home. This was the place where she had started it all. She started her career because Matt's acting career simply wouldn't take off and couldn't provide for them, so she worked here. She thought she'd work like a normal person, coming in at 9 and leaving at 5. But as her relationship with Matt deteriorated, she started working crazy hours until the late CEO, Mr. James Grant, recognized her talent and promoted her repeatedly until she became a chief editor at the age of 28. It was also around that time that she began to pay for her mother's expensive medications and her sister's university studies. She also had to support Matt since acting barely gave him any money, so she became the sole breadwinner for all 3 people at once.
Well, I thought that giving Matt a comfortable life would be enough to compensate for the fact that I can't give him a baby.
Kate thought.
How could I be so stupid? Of course it's not enough for Matt. Nothing I did was good enough for him. Meanwhile, he's doing the bare minimum as a man.
She ridiculed herself in her own mind. Kate walked through the empty hall, thinking about going to her office and staying the night there. But her attention was suddenly diverted when she realized the lights were switched on in the CEO's office.
Huh? I thought the CEO office had been locked since Mr. Grant's death.
Kate frowned, immediately suspicious. Worried there might be a break-in, she took out a wine bottle from the bag as a weapon and sneakily walked towards the CEO's office, trying to catch the intruder. The door wasn't completely closed, so Kate grew more suspicious. She peeked through the gap and saw a man's arm dangling at the end of the sofa. There was a striking black snake tattoo circling around the arm from his elbow down to his hand, and he was holding an almost empty bottle of strong booze. Kate doubted this man was a burglar, especially after seeing a limited edition Parker's Heritage bourbon in his hand. He was someone with money, at least. Thus, she felt braver, opening the door to learn more. Who was this man that dared to enter the office late at night? There, she saw a blonde young man, roughly in his 20s, lounging leisurely on the sofa, surrounded by 2 more bottles of the same bourbon he had drank. He didn't react when the door opened, probably because he was half drunk at this point.
Who are you? How did you enter this office?
Kate asked carefully, holding her wine bottle like a sword and the remaining bag of wine bottles in front of her like a shield. She was prepared to throw them at him and run if this young man suddenly pounced on her. The man finally turned his head towards Kate, and Kate's heart skipped a beat when she saw the man's face. She was taken aback by his handsome face that reminded her of a man she once admired, and eyes that could petrify anyone at sight. He had a set of deep green eyes that glinted dangerously as he peered at Kate in silence. It gave off the illusion of a green-eyed snake, ready to strike and bite once provoked. Kate would be lying if she said she wasn't scared. But she did not intend to leave her office, and the man didn't seem hostile towards her either. She felt a chill crawl up her spine as he observed her with his viper-like eyes. And when he finally spoke, her heart beat faster.
Which bastard dared to make you cry?
Episode 5.
Which bastard dared to make you cry?
Kate's jaw dropped as soon as the question left his lips. Where was the customary, hello, or who are you? Wasn't that how you were supposed to greet someone you've never met? Heck, Kate wouldn't even be surprised if this man started cursing at her out of the blue, since he looked half drunk already.
Is this just him slurring out nonsense because he's drunk?
She thought for a moment, but then eliminated the idea.
I don't think so. He's drunk, but not that drunk.
There was a long, uneasy silence between them. The young man didn't seem to care. He simply raised his hand and drank the bourbon in the bottle. Once he realized there was no more left inside the bottle, he tossed it on the carpet under his shoes and started looking around for more. He clicked his tongue and muttered,
Should have bought more.
The man's eyes darted back to Kate, who was still standing at the door warily. His eyes lighted up as he saw the wine bottle Kate was holding in her hand.
Did you come to bring me some? Sweet!
Kate quickly put the wine bottle back into the bag, clutching it protectively. She was saving this for herself and had no intention of sharing them with a random drunkard. The young man chuckled when he saw her reaction.
So stingy. I could buy that from you if you want.
Kate frowned. This man sounded way too casual. They didn't even know each other.
You know this is private property, right? How did you get in?
The young man grinned, stupidly. Kate might add, and fished something out of his breast pocket.
I have this, obviously.
The young man replied, dangling a ring of keys in front of Kate. She studied the keychain.
That's the key from the head office. Who are you, really? What's your name, and how did you get that key?
The man's grin widened teasingly. He was in a playful mood, especially after successfully identifying the woman before him.
I'm also curious about that.
He answered cheekily, his smile almost a leer as he continued looking at her mischievously.
Do tell me once you know my name.
Seriously.
Kate's head was starting to ache. She had had a rough day, and an even rougher night. Now she had to face an unscrupulous young man who also happened to be half drunk.
You can either leave of your own free will, or I'm going to call security and kick you out for trespassing,
Kate said firmly.
I don't have the time to deal with your bullshit. Not tonight, at least.
Hey, relax.
The man chuckled as he patted the spot next to him on the sofa.
Come here and chill with me. We can share those bottles of yours.
Do you take me for an idiot?
Kate scoffed.
We're strangers. Don't act like you know me.
Really?
The man was now even more amused by her response. His gaze intensified, and Kate became keenly aware of how he was eyeing every small movement she made as though she was prey.
I think it is you who does not know me.
Kate was getting nervous under his gaze. She put down her bag of wine bottles and grabbed her phone from inside her tote instead.
I'm calling security.
She threatened.
Oh, I wouldn't do that if I were you.
The man said, evidently unfazed by her words.
You'll be kicked out of here instead of me. Wouldn't that be an embarrassing sight?
The young man's brazen boldness, he raised an eyebrow teasingly at her, left Kate speechless. The confidence he exuded, even when half drunk, was making her hesitate. Even the thought of being arrested by security didn't bother him. He also likely had access to the CEO's office, as the place showed no signs of a break-in. He clearly was no ordinary person.
Who are you? Were you sent by the head office?
Kate demanded.
Perhaps.
Or are you a new employee that I don't know?
Could be that too.
Kate was starting to get annoyed. Her gut told her that he was someone important and that she shouldn't mess with him. But she also wasn't in the mood to cater to anyone right now.
Whatever. I'll just find a hotel nearby.
Kate grabbed her bag of wine and turned to leave when the man suddenly said something that made her stop in her tracks.
That's too bad, Catherine Woods. You look like you need some comforting.
Did you just...
Call your name? Yeah, I did. So you can't say that we don't know each other, because I do know who you are. I know you very well, Kitty.